In today's Take a Day, I want to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, and I want to talk about two things they need to avoid going forward in this season. Now, before we get into that, though, please like, subscribe, also hit the notification bell, just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. We put out content every day, so you won't miss any content here. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. You know, the Clippers, you look at last night's game where they played the Memphis Grizzlies, and as I said in last night's reaction to the game and pregame before that, it was a trap game for them because they're going on the road and they come off this high of the 7-game winning streak. And in their mind, they're confident and they know they feel like they know what they're doing. They feel like they got everything under control. Then, you lose a 7-game winning streak, which is fine. You're not going to keep a winning streak forever. You lost that to the Bulls. You come back a couple nights later or a night later to beat the Spurs. And then you come lay an egg on the road against a Memphis team that you already beat, or a team that you definitely have a better team than, and you definitely have the better player. You definitely have the best superstar on the floor because Paul George, I would say, is a better player than Ja Morant currently right now. I don't know in the future. Of course, Ja Morant is going to be better than Paul George probably, but that remains to be seen. That's something that's futuristic. We can't really speak on that too much. But what I'm saying is, you have a team like Memphis, who is young, ready to go, and you come on the road and lay an egg when this is a team you should beat because you have the best player on the floor in Paul George, and overall, you have a better team. I mean, the Clippers paid Luke Kennard $64 million. There's other players on the team they re-signed. They re-signed Reggie Jackson. They re-signed other players. You got Nicholas Batum. You got other versatile pieces that gives you a better option, a better chance of winning than what the Memphis Grizzlies has against you. So, and when you look at that, and shout out to Luke Kennard, he did, put up double-figure numbers last night, and so did Reggie Jackson and a few of the other guys. But I'm not really going there with it. But what I'm saying is this: the Clippers have to find a way to be more energetic. They have to find a way to come out at these games and put your foot on other teams' neck, especially when you're the better team. Shaq said it best a couple years ago on TNT. Great teams beat the teams they're supposed to beat. If you're a great team, or if you look at yourself as a contender, if you look at yourself as a playoff team and all these type things, you got to beat teams you're supposed to beat. You see what I'm saying? And when you look at the Clippers from last year in the playoffs, a lot of people consider them a contender. Even still, they're not being talked about as much because Kawhi Leonard's not there. And, Paul George is holding it down, pretty damn well. I'm not saying he isn't. But what I'm saying is you can't have losses against teams you're supposed to beat when you're shorthanded. And they are going to be shorthanded all year, predominantly, whether it's without Serge or without Kawhi Leonard. It's always, the last couple of years, they've been without the services of one of their key components. And that's just the way it's been for the Clippers. So since the Clippers know that, they have to come out in these games with a little bit more sense of urgency. And they have to have the mentality, every team, every win, every loss really counts for us because we're fighting for playoff position. We don't want to find ourselves in a play-in tournament like the Warriors did last year and get knocked off by a team like Memphis, because that can definitely happen. And we all saw it happen. So to me, one of the two things I feel like the Clippers need to avoid going into these games, especially road games where it's even more difficult, is slow starts. One of them is a slow start. Last night against the Memphis Grizzlies, they start off slow and they're lagging. And this is what I'm talking about. When the Clippers play like that, they always seem to get beat because, and I don't care who the team is. Like just a few weeks ago, they got beat by the Cleveland Cavaliers at home. I mean, there's no way Colin Sexton and the Cleveland Cavaliers should come into LA or whatever, or on the road, it doesn't matter where it's at, and beat you 92-79. It's no way when you got Paul George on there, a superstar player that a lot of people look at as a superstar player, and you clearly have the best player on the floor. Colin Sexton is not even in the same category or the same stratosphere as a Paul George. And Cleveland is just a team that's, I mean, I don't know if they're playing to get a draft pick, or I don't know. I don't even know what the purpose of their season is. because LeBron's not coming back through that door no time soon, and neither is Kyrie. So that's a team the Clippers clearly should beat. And if you do lose to a team like that, you can't lose 92-79. There's no way in the hell Cleveland should hold you to less than 80 points. When you have all that firepower on your team, there's no way in hell, especially not at home. And this is what I'm talking about. The Clippers have to come out in these games, and they can't have all these slow starts all the time. And, you know, and even in their 7-game winning streak, they had some slow starts, and they had some lagging, quarters where they let other teams hang around and stay around, and they possibly could have got beat. Now, they did win those games, but those games is those type of moments that can hinder you in your future, because when the games get close and tight and you're lagging and you're allowing teams to stay around and they don't need to, because you're sitting there taking threes the whole time, not being aggressive, attacking the paint, well, you're going to get beat by a lot of teams you're not supposed to get beat by. And that's what I see happening for the Clippers if they don't change that. They have to find a way to go into these games and have that energy from the start. Not start in the game and the score is 17-7 or 17-5, and then you make a comeback and luckily beat the team at the end. It's not always going to work out that way. Sometimes you got to go in there and dominate a game. Go in there and just from start to finish, let that other team know who the hell you are, and let them know who the hell they're not. And that's just what it has to be with the Clippers. And if they're not going to do that, then they're going to be a Jekyll and Hyde team all season. They'll win 2 or 3, 4 straight. Then they'll lose 2 or 3 in a row. And then they'll, they'll just be an up and down team, a roller coaster team the whole season. And that's not going to encourage Kawhi Leonard to come back any quicker. That's going to encourage Kawhi Leonard to sit out even longer, because it's like, what's the point of coming back when I'm coming off a knee injury and I need guys that got my back, because I'm not even 100% yet. Even when Kawhi Leonard steps back on the floor, it's going to take him about a month, 2 weeks to a month, give or take, to really get back into his rhythm. So even when he comes back, he's not going to be Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, right away. It's going to take him a little bit of time to ease back into who he was. So the Clippers need to be rolling. The Clippers need to be, having this thing put together the way it's supposed to be. So when Kawhi can come back, they can make it comfortable for him so he can slide right back into his position where he was, and they go make a run. But they're not going to make a run if they're going to have all these slow starts and, sleepwalk on defense, like I say at times. And, it's just going to come back to hurt them. And of course, the number 2 thing that the Clippers must avoid, and I've said this damn near every video I've spoken on, because I see it even in some of the wins they have, you've got to be more efficient on the offensive end. Last night against the Grizzlies, I think, Paul George and Reggie Jackson were pretty efficient. Both of them shot 50+% from the field, I believe, and that's good. But the efficiency didn't matter when you lost. It doesn't matter now because you lost the game and you didn't put up enough points to minus what the Memphis Grizzlies were doing on offense. So they picked a good game. Them two, Reggie and Paul George, which they're really good friends, I hear. That, I'm glad they're friends, but they picked a really good game to be efficient in, because they lost. And they played like a team who almost didn't even belong on the floor. I mean, really, you shouldn't be struggling against a Memphis team where you clearly had the better team. You clearly had the better team. You clearly had the best player on the floor. There's no way in hell there's nobody on Memphis that can stop anybody on the Clippers. I mean, honestly, Reggie Jackson should get 30 points on Memphis if he chose to, because there's nobody on there to stop you. Paul George should get 45 points if he chose to. There's nobody on there to stop him. Nobody. But the problem is they go into these games shooting 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. Just keep shooting threes, not being aggressive, not driving to the paint as much as they can. And their efficiency is low. That's why most of the time on the stat sheet, when you look at it, Paul George may have 35 points, but he's 11 for 29. Reggie Jackson, a lot of times when you look at the stat sheet, even in some of them wins they had when they was on the winning streak, Yeah, he had 22 points, but he was 8 for 26, 9 for 22. You see what I'm talking about? Like and that might not have been their stats like specifically, but what I'm saying is you're not going to win anything playing like that. You're damn sure not going to win a championship. And that was the Clippers' problems last year. The reason why they were down 0-2 in every series, because of their inefficient shooting. Only person that was consistent that whole playoffs last year until he got hurt was Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was averaging 33 points a game on 60+% shooting the whole playoffs until he got hurt. So you only got one guy on a Clippers team who knows how to be efficient with his shot, making, his shot selection. And you got a bunch of guys on there who can shoot and have the talent, but they keep shooting threes, whether they're going in or not, and find themselves falling to teams like the Dallas Mavericks almost lost the series when they clearly should have won the series in 5 games. It's unreal with the Clippers. The Clippers are the most confusing team I've ever seen in sports history. They just are, and unless they get it together or find a way to put the pieces together, they're going to struggle at some point in this season. And it's not going to look good unless they make these changes. If these changes are made and if it's implemented in their diet a lot better than what it is, and I blame Ty Lue for that, you have to get these guys on the right track. You cannot have them going out there thinking it's okay to shoot 1,000 3-pointers and everything's going to be fine. Hell, even the Golden State Warriors, they got, 3-point shooters too. They got the best record in the league, but they don't sit there and just shoot threes the whole time. There's a lot of times where Stephen Curry is, passing the ball a lot. They got such good ball movement that when Stephen Curry is hot, yeah, he can shoot threes out the world. They let him do what he want to do. But a lot of times you see Stephen Curry and they're passing the ball. How do you think Poole and Damian Lee and all of them got better? Because the ball movement, everybody start trusting everybody. The ball movement is crisp, is sharp. And even though Stephen Curry does his thing from 3-point range, everybody else gets to eat too because they play within their means. They play in their system, and they systematically play that way, whether they're at home or on the road, which is the reason why they got the best record. And they still missing Klay Thompson. Let that sink in. They got the best record in the NBA, or one of the best, and they're missing arguably the second greatest shooter of all time in Klay Thompson. And this is why I say the Clippers got to find a way to be more efficient and get it right and do a lot better if they want to be a winning team, if they want to be a contender, and if they want to have a chance to get to the ultimatum, which is the finals. And hopefully Kawhi Leonard comes back that can help give them that opportunity. So, I mean, honestly, like I said, that's my take on the situation. That's what I see. And that's what I see that needs to be fixed. But, hey, leave any comments in the comment section. As always, let me know what you think. We could talk about it. And, hey, Khaliis out.